Okay. During the last sessions, we talked about wireless networks and only remain only a short topic about mobile IP. What is mobile IP? Mobile IP is an standard for mobile devices over IP platform. This standard is presented in RFC 5944 20 years ago as mobile IP architecture. Okay. This protocol has been released many years ago, long time before preparing or presenting 4G and LTE, and at that time, 20 years ago, number of wireless networks and number of wireless devices connected to the internet was very short. It's just a few devices and networks had been established at that time. But as we see, during these times, during the past 20 years, we can see that the mobile IP didn't widely deployed around the world. Why? Because during that time, maybe after presenting Wi-Fi or in 2G or 3G networks, mostly people in 2G and 3G especially, people just try to send and receive information in voice format. They just use phone calls. And when they use Wi-Fi technology, the Wi-Fi technology is a local technology, local networking technology. So during this time, we never had enough interest to use mobile IP protocol. But when the 4G technology has been presented, yes, this technology tries to prepare a wide range of bandwidth for data communication, and we know that in cellular networks, it's important to keep sessions of peoples when they are moving, especially when they are using IP connections. And in 4G, also in 4G, we can see that the backbone of 4G networks is IP. When we talked about, for example, a 2G technology network, the backbone of 2G network is completely telecommunication protocols, consists of telecommunication network protocols. Even in 3G, most of the backbone of 3G networks is still telecommunication protocols. But in 4G and especially in 5G, the IP dominance on the back end or background of 4G and 5G technologies. So it's the time, and you can see that In 4G and 5G, mostly we are using mobile IP protocol. So we need to care about mobile IP architecture. When we talk about mobile IP architecture, this architecture is using indirect routing. To note, we talked about indirect routing, and we said that okay, in indirect routing, the correspondent should send its information to the home agent, and then the home agent will forward those packets to a foreign agent, and that foreign agent will receive the information to the mobile host, and then that mobile host can send its information, its responses, directly to the correspondent. And as we talked in the last session, uh, to do this, we need some tunnels over the networks. When we talked about tunnels in computer networks, it means that I should replace one packet into another one. I should encapsulate a packet into another packet and then sending that packet over the internet. We call this as a tunnel or tunneling technology. Putting one packet inside into another packet. This is the tunneling. The exam date next week, next Thursday. Uh, when we look on architecture of mobile IP protocols, we can see that similar terminologies, similar to mobile IP protocol, have been presented in 4G technology. For example, in mobile IP technology, we have a home agent, a router who is responsible to manage mobilities in the home network. When we talk about 4G, we have an HSS and home P gateway, PGW devices who presents the role of home agent. In mobile IP, we talked about foreign agent. In 4G, we have MME and S gateway who are similar to foreign agent. And when we talked about moving from one network to another network, reaching to a new visited network. In mobile IP architecture, firstly, the mobile node should register its location in the visited network. So the mobile device sends its information to its home agent via ICMP messages. We need ICMP extensions. Just this. So we use ICMP extensions as a discovery protocol to announce that the mobile device is placed in a specific network over the internet. We announce its new location and handoff or handovers. Okay? We had supplementary documents and protocols to handle these mobilities. But when we talk about mobility, please pay attention to this. When we talked about mobility, we always we think about something happens in lower layers. That's true. Because when I'm moving from one network to another network, just I change my network. So a routing protocols and a routing strategy should be used to handle this movement, sending information from from the previous network to the new one. Okay, but what is important is that when I'm moving from one network to another network, it directly affects on the upper layer protocols. Directly it affects on upper layer protocols. So we have to minimize this effect. This effect. It means that if I try to handle the mobility of devices, the upper layer protocols should remain unchanged, should remain as the past. The best effort service model in internet. It should be safe. It should same as previous. When we talk about TCP and UDP, we should keep them over a wireless network, a wireless media, over a mobile network. Even when I'm changing my network myself from one network to another one. Okay, they should be unchanged. The effects of this mobility should be minimal over this transition, moving from one network to another one. But we know that this is not easy. Why? Because when I'm moving from one network to another network, it's possible to lose some information, some packets. It's possible some packets receive some errors, bit errors, some delays. Even maybe my handover fails. If I lost the handover process, it means that I will lose the connection. I should start a new connection again in the new network. And maybe take some time. Maybe when I'm using a TCP protocol to handle the congestion levels in a network, when I'm moving from one network to another one, handoff, when I'm doing a handoff, it can affect and decrease the congestion window. Maybe this reduction in the size of congestion window is not necessary. It's unnecessary, maybe. But during this change, moving from one network to another one, it happens. Maybe during this movement, high priority packets such as, for example, real-time traffics, maybe they receive longer delays, additional delays during this movement, this handoff. Maybe in the new network, I could not guarantee enough resources over wireless links. Maybe. What does it mean? It means that when I'm talking about mobility and wireless, especially wireless networks, it's completely possible that the specifications of wireless networks, and especially mobility in wireless networks, it directly affects the, on the traditional protocols in computer networks. So it's a question: should I continue with the traditional protocols, or I should refine them? I should update them to work better in wireless network, or I should replace them. It's a it's an it's a big question. What should I do? Keeping the old protocols, updating them, or replacing them? And we know that when we look on IP version 6 history, we see that if I try to replace something with a new one, with a newer version, it's not easy. It takes too long time. So I don't know, maybe it's not the time to replace some protocols. We should adopt the old protocols with the new conditions, or deploy new protocols and new network structures based on the requirements of the old protocols. This is one of the main challenges in wireless networks. And for example, you can look for TCP fairness. Look for this TCP fairness in wireless networks. If you look for this topic, you can receive some interesting materials, especially some interesting papers. Those papers say that, okay, we test traditional TCP strategies, especially congestion strategies of TCP protocol on wireless network, and we see that those protocols strongly affected by the behavior of wireless platforms. Why? Because in wireless platforms, when we talked about CSMA-CA, we talked about CSMA-CA in the first of this chapter. When we talked about CSMA-CA, this protocol may be deferred the transmission because of its nature, to avoid collisions in wireless platforms. So simply, the CSMA-CA would defer the transmission, but in the upper layer, in layer 4, TCP thinks about things that, okay, since some congestion happens in my network, and at that time, the congestion control mechanism of TCP would be started. It will reduce the size of congestion window, size of sending packets over the network. So if you look on this condition over a wireless network, you can see that in some cases the sources cannot send enough information, and we can see some unfair conditions over wireless network, especially in Wi-Fi networks. You can search for TCP fairness in wireless networks or in Wi-Fi networks. Okay, And this is the end of chapter 7. Is there any question about chapter 7? Any question? Okay. Wait. Okay, wait for upload. I will start to talk with you after this upload. Okay. After chapter 7 now, we will start to talk about chapter 8. Yes, we will work on chapter 8. But until finishing this upload process, I should mention one important thing. Some of you asked me to extend the time of homework on chapter 1, homework of chapter 1. It was finished on a couple of days ago. Okay, I will extend the time until end of this week. But please note that during this time, I will upload another homework, homework of chapters 4 for you. And now we finished chapter 7. So we have some other homeworks in a few days. Okay, in next weeks we have other homeworks. So I will, again, I'm repeating that I will extend the time of the first homework, assignment one, homework 1, number 1. But at the same time, I will upload a new homework of chapter 4 for you. And next week, on Tuesday, we will have final quiz of chapter 4. Okay, please be patient. Same as the previous one. Let me look on previous quiz. Quiz of chapter 1. 15 o'clock. 15 o'clock Tehran times. Okay. On Tuesday. Okay. Please be patient. We have to complete this. In Iraq, I think your time, the difference between the time of Baghdad and Tehran is half an hour, I think. Yes. It If it's true, so in Iraq, it would be started on Forte C. Yes. Okay, I will extend it. Just don't worry, okay? I will do my best, and I need you do your best too. But do it yourself, please. Don't ask for help from other guys in the class or out of the class. Do your homework, your assignments yourself. You do your best, and I will do my on my best. Uh, I should think right now. I don't know. I'm not. I should prepare the question. Um, I think 15 questions. No, 50 question is not too much. That's enough. Because after each question, we will finish that chapter. We never goes back. We never go back to that chapter. So 15 question is good. It's not too much. Fine. But you know, I cannot put questions in, for example, multiple uh, exams or multiple quiz. It's better to take the whole questions in one exam. You don't fail on the previous exam. You just lost some marks. So you need to work on it uh, to recover your marks in the upcoming exams and homeworks. The previous exam has only 1.5 marks. Okay, from 20 marks, the previous exam had only 1.5 marks. So don't worry about it. But try to take a good exam in the upcoming exam and the upcomings and the future exams and homeworks and assignments. Okay? Okay, I will stop my trying LMS for the exam. Yes, sir. Trying in LMS for the exam 2 or 3 times because the time is limited in the multiple choice questions. The total time of the exam is limited. So if, for example, I allowed you to enter, for example, 10 times, you cannot enter because there is not enough time to do that. 2 or 3 times. You can enter to the exam 2 or 3 times. If you receive a bad conditions in the first exam, then you can try to enter to the exam again. Do your best, Zainab. Do your best. Then the God will help you. Not me. The God will help you. Just I'm a tools. The God will help you. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. I will stop my voice for a few minutes to complete this processing, uploading this chapter 8, the slides of chapter 8. Okay. I will stop talk for a few minutes. Okay. Chapter 8. In chapter 8, we want to talk about security, network security. Okay. It's another main topic in computer networks. Here, in this chapter, we talk about some basic principles of network security. Especially, we talked about cryptography and confidentiality, authentication, message integrity, and also we talked about some practice in security using different devices in computer networks to keep secure, to keep the network secure. Okay, we will talk about all of this, and we will talk about what else